2020, fans were stunned when Rascal Flatts abruptly announced they were retiring and going on a farewell tour. Over the years, the band has amassed a mountain of hits, including songs like Bless the Broken Road, What Hurts the Most, I Like the Sound of That, and My Wish, just to name a few. And as we would later learn, the band was currently in the midst of some internal turmoil. As it turns out, Rascal Flatts simply weren't trying to ride off into the sunset and enjoy their retirement, and they're much younger than retirement age to begin with. There were some bigger problems facing the group, and in a later interview, singer Gary LeVox says he hated the way that things went down with Rascal Flatts at the time. Then, in 2021, guitarist Don Rooney was arrested for DUI and sentenced to time in jail. He released a statement at the time saying, "I ran square into a tree and about killed myself." He continued, "That event led me to treatment for my alcoholism for 4 months in the beautiful mountains of Utah. When I first got there, I didn't want to stay. I was ashamed of myself. I was so full of fear and guilt that it took me all of those 4 months to really start understanding treatment in the AA way and how to best utilize these new tools that I downloaded from the amazing clinicians, counselors, and other patients there. My life has been changed forever, and I'm grateful for the change. I've been sober now for almost 28 months, come this January 13th. In an interview last year on Savannah Chrisley's Unlocked podcast, bassist Demarcus told the story of why things unraveled internally in Rascal Flatts. Singer Gary LeVox previously made a statement saying that Don Rooney quitting the band was the factor that led to the abrupt retirement. But bassist Demarcus says that each member of the group was internally frustrated. He said, "I knew that all of us were frustrated." So what LeVox said in an article, I don't think is a real reflection of how it really came down. I think Don was the first one to be brave enough to put it out there that he was tired of the way things had been for the last few years. So he shared with us that he wasn't sure that he had the energy or the emotional energy to deal with some of the things we had been dealing with on an ongoing basis. Of course, Don went through his very public debacle a couple of years ago. He's better than I've heard him in 10 years. I mean, he's 19 months sober, and he's enjoying having some peace and learning how to live again without his addiction. I'm really proud of him and where he's at right now. He said, "There's just so many steps that have to take place in order for us to get back to even talking about it. I think the further we get away from it, the harder it is to put it back together." He also added that the members of Rascal Flatts don't really talk on a consistent basis. He said, "In a lot of ways, I feel like I'm still mourning the loss of the Flatts, even though there wasn't an official breakup. Most of my adult life, it's all that I've known. Getting on that bus and going out and singing to people and seeing what your music does and how it's touched people is a wonderful thing. It's better than any drug you could ever be on. And to have that stripped away from you, not on your own terms, was a very painful thing. And to not have known March 7th, 2020, when we were in New Jersey doing our last show, that was the last time the three of us would be on stage together, makes me really sad to think about. And unfortunately for the fans who had hoped to see one final show from Rascal Flatts, that time never came. The farewell tour was ultimately canceled, as it was announced just before the government lockdown surrounding COVID-19. But now, there are a lot of rumblings that Rascal Flatts could be making a comeback, mostly due to some interesting posts on social media and a change to their bio on Instagram. In a nod to their hit single These Days, the band has updated their profile on Instagram, writing, "What are we doing these days?" The band also shared a photo of them performing with the caption, "We're feeling nostalgic. Share your favorite Rascal Flatts tour memories and tag us so we can see them." They've got the eyeball emojis in both that caption and in their profile when they said, "What are we doing these days?" Maybe it's all just wishful thinking, but with multiple members of Rascal Flatts admitting publicly that they don't like the way things ended, and the fact that they're not even that old, plus the fact that Don Rooney has since gotten sober, there are many different reasons to believe Rascal Flatts would want to get back together and perform for their fans who would love to see them perform. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to CountryCast for the latest news and updates.